What does that what does that all right, so question number 4 is actually 2 questions, and the first one is what we're gonna start this over again. Hey, how's it going? How's life? My name is Sophia. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be doing a tag video. It's been a while since I last done one of these, but today I'm going to be doing the Meet the Fantasy Reader book tag. I will leave a link to the original creator down below for you guys to check out, but without further ado, let's get into this video. Alrighty, so question number 1 is going to be, what is your fantasy origin story? So in terms of fantasy, the first fantasy book I ever remember reading, and by reading I mean my 5th grade teacher read this to the class, was Chronicles of Narnia. This was right around the time that the movie had just came out, and I remember really loving that story. And then I also remember watching the movie in class, which was a really fun time. And then in high school, I read a lot of Cassandra Clare. I think The Mortal Instruments, Hush Hush, Angel Fall, books like that was like when I really started getting into fantasy as a young adult. If you could be the hero or heroine in a fantasy novel, who would be the author, and what's one trope you'd insist be in the story? I almost said R.F. Kuang, but I feel like that would be I feel like that would be a terrible choice, because I feel like she would make me suffer, and I'm not trying to be about that life. And certainly not Fonda Lee, because she would kill me off. Okay, so I think I would, for my author, I would choose Madeline Miller, and for the trope, it would be the found family trope. I feel like Madeline Miller does a lot of character work, and so I don't think she would brutally kill me off in my own story. So I feel like she's a safe author to choose, and who doesn't love a found family trope? So question number 3. What is a fantasy you've read this year that you want more people to read? This year just started, and so I don't, spoiler alert for my January wrap-up, but it's been an interesting reading month, to say the least. But if I had to choose the one book out of all the books I've read so far, it would be Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. I read the first book several years ago, and I thought it was just okay. It was just alright. She was a cute time, but like nothing serious, you know what I'm saying? And so on Twitter, I asked for recommendations, and my friend Taylor from Made Between the Pages actually recommended Down Among the Sticks and Bones. And originally I gave it like a 3 stars. I just thought it was like a cute fun time, definitely better than the first book. But like the more I thought about it, the more I really liked it, and so I'm intrigued to continue on. And I feel like and I feel like I would want more people to read it, because it has like this whimsical vibe and like a dark vibe to it, and Shannon McGuire isn't afraid to take it there. And also it's a novella, so like if you hate it, you will have only wasted like an hour of your time. So I feel like that's the safest answer. But it's a good novella. I would highly recommend. Just, you might have to like get through the first one. The 4th question actually has 2 questions in it, and the first one is going to be, what is your favorite fantasy subgenre? And for me, that is definitely going to be grimdark. I just love misery. Is there anything else left to say? I think not. I'm a masochist. Like, when it comes to my reading, I like the feeling that no one is safe and that anybody could be tortured and murdered at any second. What does that say about me as a person? I don't know. Don't really care to know. And the second question is going to be, what is a sub-genre that you have not read much from? I would say historical fantasy. I can literally count on one hand how many historical fantasies I've read, which is a shame because I enjoy the genre and I feel like I need more. So if any of you guys have historical fantasy, own voices, historical fantasy recommendations, feel free to comment them down below. I would love to check them out. Question number 5 is going to be, who is one of your autobuy fantasy authors? R.F. Kuang. R.F. Kuang. R.F. Kuang. N.K. Jemisin also exists. Damn. One of those two. R.F. Kuang, N.K. Jemisin. Because they make me suffer. Question number 6 is, how do you typically find fantasy recommendations? I mostly find it here on BookTube. I usually get recommendations from my friends. Honestly, it doesn't take a lot for me to read my friends' recommendations. All they gotta say is that this book crushed their spirit, and I'm just like, that sounds fun. That sounds interesting. I would love to be destroyed. Question number 7 is going to be, what is an upcoming release you're excited for? I would say Monstrous, but I feel like that's cheating. So instead, I'm going to go with Dabble by R.F. Kuang. All I know is that this is a dark academia fantasy novel. I don't have much experience with dark academia. I did try to read 9000. That was a struggle. And so from the snippets that R.F. Kuang is giving us on Twitter, it sounds like something I would enjoy. If you are interested in seeing any of my other anticipated releases, I will leave that video linked up here and down below. If I remember, I'm sorry, I've been forgetting to do that lately. But if I remember, it will be linked. Question number 8 is, what is one misconception about fantasy you would like to lay to rest? One misconception I would say that people have about fantasy is that the genre as a whole is intimidating. Personally, I don't think that's the case. I think fantasy as a genre is so broad and there are so many subgenres that you will find something that you like. Like if you're a romance reader, a historical reader, or like a literary fiction reader, there are different subgenres of fantasy that will fit your reading taste and that you will enjoy. Not all fantasy is like big, epic, 1,000 page, like intimidating books. You know what I'm saying? And like if you're intimidated by adult fantasy and you've never read fantasy before, maybe try getting into YA fantasy before dipping your toes in. If you're really into romance, maybe try looking up fantasy romance recommendations. And I think that's a very easy way to ease into the genre. And plus, there are adult fantasy books that read more so YA. I'm pretty sure you can find countless of recommendations. I know Brandon Sanderson, like the Mistborn trilogy, is like everyone's top recommendations for getting into adult fantasy. And that's because like the writing style is very easy. Besides the page count, it's like a fairly easy series to read and get into. Fantasy as a genre is not that intimidating, but granted, I have been reading it for a couple of years now, and I love it. And I'm not gonna lie, even I get intimidated from time to time when I see a book is like 1,000+ pages. But if reading 1,000+ pages is very intimidating, there are fantasy books, there are fantasy novellas as well, super short and easy to get into. So even if you're intimidated by these large, epic, grand scale books, there are ways to dip your toes without being too overwhelmed. But yeah, hopefully that was a coherent explanation. I've been talking, I've just been word vomiting, and we're just gonna hope I can make a video out of this. Question number 9 is, if someone had never read a fantasy before and asked you to recommend the first 3 books that come to mind as places to start, what would those recommendations be? But for my recommendations, if you are into romance, I would recommend Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri. It's a very slow burn romance. Highly enjoyed my time reading this. If you are a person who's into mystery type books, not mystery thrillers, but strictly mysteries, I feel like you would really enjoy A Master of Jinn by P. Djeli Clark. And if you are a person who likes gang wars and morally gray characters, then I would recommend Jade City by Fonda Lee. The magical elements in this book are easily explained and fairly light. So if you're intimidated by that, I feel like this would be a great place to start. But yeah, if you want like more recommendations and a more detailed explanation as to why I would recommend these books, feel free to like comment down below and let me know that you would like to see a beginner's guide to fantasy. So the final question is, who is the most recent fantasy reading content creator that you came across that you would like to shout out? So I've recently come across the channel Tori Morrow. Her vibes are super calm and relaxing, which is like the exact opposite of me, which is probably why I enjoy her content so much. But yeah, I feel like our reading tastes don't quite align, but her voice and her personality and her presence on camera is just very calming and soothing. And so I just really like watching her content for that. If any of you guys want to check out her channel, I will leave her linked down below for you guys to check out. But yeah, this video was all over the place. I did not prepare for any of these questions at all. We will see if this video is actually coherent. I highly doubt it, but like honestly, when are my videos ever coherent? If we're being completely honest, you know? But yeah, so that was it for my incoherent, rambly fantasy reader book tag. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know what some of your auto-buy authors are. If you've reached the end of the video, feel free to leave me a star emoji. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope to see you guys soon with another video, and until then, I will see you soon. Bye!